happy and cheerful, right? Very happy to have met you all, and I thank the Pythian Games Council to have invited me today. Uh, what distinguishes a human being from an animal or an animal existence is the art, culture, the weft a person carries about himself or herself. And the Pythian Games started in that light. The tradition, the sporting traditions with combination of art, culture, poetry, crafts is something really to look forward to. I'm very happy to learn that martial arts, which evolved in India, can be seen in different forms and formats from across the globe. Japan, it got to be known as judo karate. Korea, it became taekwondo. China, it became wushu. But in India, where it evolved from, it still continues to be practiced either in the form of chow dance or kalari payat. And I think we all need to remember that our great saints and rishis were not only great saints and rishis in terms of philosophical knowledge, but even sporting traditions. India had so many sporting traditions that few thousand years old history describes the sporting traditions of this country. And there was a saying about Krishnji. You all know Krishnji? You know Krishnji? Yes or no? You know Krishnji? So when we talk about Krishnji, we also say Chausat Kala Sampurn. Means 64 skills is what he was masters at. And out of those skills, one was charioteer, weapon building, swimming, horse riding, making garlands also at the same time, dance and music too. So Chausat Kala Sampurn is that a person who excels in everything and is an all-rounder becomes a complete being. And I think Pythian Games are also about the same development of a human being. Not just sports, not just education, but sports, education, dance, music, physical fitness, everything put together. And in that light, our Prime Minister also has been constantly telling us that practice yoga, play sports, work on fitness, and the result is before all of us, that in Paralympics India did better than before, ever before, because when we talk about inclusive India, we also talk about accessible India. We also talk about people who people may look at with the eyes of disability, but they have to be looked at from the eyes of ability. Ability to do things better than others in something or the other. And they are great people, great shooters, very good in playing sports. And those abilities are what we need to recognize in building accessible and inclusive India. And Pythian Games is also about inclusion of various other disciplines of art, craft, culture, and values. So I'm sure this is a very fruitful, beautiful beginning, and we will do still better in coming years. My best wishes to the Council, who of its own have chosen to take this lead. I wish you the very best. May God bless that you do well and take the country's name forward. I have two things to say. One is that there is a shlok which says Atno Mokshat Jagdvita Cha, which means for one's own salvation and for the welfare of the world. So one's own salvation, people who are involved in arranging this are doing it for their own sake because they want to feel good, they want to support India. They also understand that if India needs to lead, many things have to be acted upon and old traditions need to be revived. Greece and India are ancient friends, not just modern friends, but ancient friends, because ancient civilizations had such deep exchanges which over centuries we forgot. and we need to revive those connections. We are actually people from the same family. The area which today is known as Afghanistan, this was the region which was called Bactrian Empire, and this was ruled by Indo-Greeks, and people need to understand. Many of our books we lost due to invasions and several other vagaries of nature and other things. But many Indian references is what you find in Greek history and Greek writings. So we need to work very closely with each other, both in terms of culture, sports, economics, trade, commerce, and taking the world forward. And together we can progress better and more and bring peace not only to ourselves but to the world. And thus these relations become very important. Africa, we know for centuries we have shared very, very close relationship with the continent. Human beings originated in Africa and migrated to India. That's what science tells today. In spite of all the wrong stories and histories which have been taught, the genetic story is very different. So, with Africa also, India has very, very deep connections. So on one side you have connections with Europe through Greece, on the other side you have connections through Africa, and India is right in the center of the world in many forms. Thus, India needs to do well and take the virasat, the heritage forward. As Prime Minister says, Vikas bhi or virasat bhi. So while we progress, we do well, we have to do well in Commonwealth Games, in Olympic Games, in every other sporting activity of the world, in World Athletics Games. But we also have to do well in our protection of art, culture, craft, and conservation and preservation of all that. With these words, I hereby declare the revival of the first ever historical Pythian Games Festival. My best wishes to all. That may God bless and do very, very well and take the name of the country forward. I want at least the ones who are from India to get up and take a shapath with me, take a pledge with me. All the Indians. All the Indians. Only Indians, others need not, because this is about India. But you can take it with us, yeah? Yeah, only Indians. Yeah. You have to take your hand forward like this. We take the pledge that we will make India self-reliant and a developed nation by 2047. We will break the shackles of, how do I say, slavery. We will break the shackles of imperialism and slavery, a mindset of slavery. We will take pride in our heritage. We will work for the unity of our nation. We will respect the people who protect our nation. We will do our duties as citizens of this country. May God bless us all. Bharat Mata Ki, Bharat Mata Ki, Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.